Fish made this.
So it's off to the docks again with us, and do you remember those notes I told you to make while talking to Wong earlier? Well, you need them now, so that you can throw them in the bin, because they're a complete waste of time. Please, you didn't really believe for 1 second that all that rambling stuff about his family and visits to the docks actually had a point, did you? Ha! Wishful thinking! Before we check out Wong's body though, let's piss off this guy and wonder why they haven't cordoned off the whole area around the warehouse instead of just this tiny section that makes it easy for any reporters to take clear photos of the exposed corpse.
Sorry, Chief. It's a crime scene. No civilians.
To which I would like to tell him to go bleep himself and then shoot him in the face, but apparently that's illegal. So I guess I should just flash my FBI badge to shut him up.
Sorry. Should have said something. I can't read your mind.
Why, you smarmy son of a...
Well, congratulations, old-timer. I don't know what you were doing, but you just warranted the involvement of the federal government. Lucky you.
Even more bizarrely, there's absolutely no need to present your badge to the coroner or the photographer, both of whom are played by the most bore-sounding actors in this whole game.
Any idea what happened?
No.
As they're more than willing to tell you whatever they know, whether you're entitled to that information or not. Though, to be fair, Penfold here has such a good memory that he remembers Wilmore from a large kidnapping investigation the previous year. So, I guess that's his excuse for full disclosure?
What caliber weapon was used?
Big, 45 looks like, maybe a 357. Hit him in the mastoid bone. That's that big, spongy, massive bone behind the ear. It shatters more easily, so there's an inordinate amount of damage. A lot of bone fragments get driven up into the brain. That's where Oswald hit JFK.
I take it you subscribe to the lone gunman theory.
No, I think aliens killed JFK.
Talking to these two is actually a waste of time, as you never receive the pictures the crime scene photographer promises, and the coroner doesn't really tell you much about the execution-style murder you don't learn later from the pathologist. So just check out the body, and then go talk to Detective Mary Astadurian, our female protagonist and prospective love interest.
What can I do for you?
And, you know, as much as I just want to groan and shake my head, how these two work together and their interactions with other characters is easily one of the better elements that sells this game. And the fact that your multiple choice options do make a difference in this partnership finally makes the mechanic worthwhile. They don't really share any chemistry, but there's just something about the performances by Jordan Lee Williams and Paige Witt when they're together that breathes life into the characters. Unfortunately, however, at the same time this raises several issues. Primarily that, as I pointed out earlier, it is almost painful to watch as the writers try to recreate the Mulder-Scully dynamic within such a short space of time. Regardless of whether you believe the leads in the show should be romantically involved or not, the friendship that slowly built over time, forged by trust and respect gained through their experiences, is what kept the show going for as long as it did. I'm not saying there can't be immediate attraction, but it feels rather shoehorned in here, just for the sake of it. Oh, and the fact that I found myself more interested in deciding whether to try and make the moves on Astadurian or completely piss her off instead of focusing on the boring case.
Special Agent Craig Wilmore, FBI.
FBI? What's the Bureau's interest in this case?
And I can't believe I forgot to mention
Problem number 8!
I don't want to get into an equal rights debate or anything, but why the f*** are the only 3 women in this game, aside from Scully, seriously PMTing? Actually, now I think about it, even Scully's more snappy than normal. I know it's regularly inferred in the show that our female leaders always struggle to find equality in her job. It's become a long-standing joke in fan fiction that she always be referred to as the Ice Queen because of this. And I don't doubt for a second that this is still the case, particularly within law enforcement. Hell, the fact that there are so few women in a 1998 game screams volumes. But why do they all have really bad attitudes? The girl at the motel I just dismissed as an over-the-top stereotype. And maybe if this game wasn't already pissing me off so much, I would just say Detective Astadorian has had to become hard-nosed to survive and make a name for herself at the precinct due to her male colleagues. But what is the excuse of Joan Truitt at the morgue? I don't want to say too much about her before we get to that scene, but even as a woman I have to wonder if some demon crawled up into her lady parts and died there. Damn it, game! None of my professional female friends are so devoid of personality, so why do you have to so badly write yours?
I'm investigating the disappearance of 2 agents.
Okay, so what's the connection to this man?
My investigation led me to this warehouse. Inside we found evidence of foul play, including the blood of one of our missing agents. I spotted Wong, asked him a few questions about the warehouse. He lied to me. Now he's dead. I'm not certain what the connection is, but I'm pretty certain there is one.
I'll buy that. Interesting. This case just went from routine to fun. Thanks.
Anytime.
Fun? Really?
So, what have you got?
Harbor Master found the body. He was shot once in the back of the head, large caliber by the looks of it, no witnesses, no sign of struggle.
That's it?
So far.
So, where's the harbor master?
Gone for coffee.
Have you questioned him?
Nope. Next on my list after search boat.
I bet you can't guess where we're going next.
Any thoughts on motive?
Robbery, most likely.
So what was stolen?
Haven't quite gotten there yet, just about to go onto the boat.
Well, robbery seems unlikely to me. Didn't look like the old guy had much.
Probably true. But you'd be amazed at what people will kill for. He probably had a cigar box full of cash. Unless maybe he was killed for squealing to the feds.
I wish I thought that was funny.
Well, Wong didn't exactly run with the most desirable crowd.
He didn't tell me anything! He lied his arse off, and him being the gullible moron he is, Wilmore just wandered off!
Any reports of trouble in this area?
No. All's quiet on the waterfront.
It's too bad.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be nice to just pin this on gang activity and be done with it?
That's a lovely color on you.
Thank you. Let's just stick to business, all right?
Smooth, Craig. Not even remotely random or completely at the wrong time. Also, it's nice to see that a pretty blonde can quickly distract you from moping over your ex-wife and daughter.
All right, looks like it's time to board the good ship Agrippa. Care to join me?
Okay, so, as expected, we have to check out Wong's boat. Only to discover that, shock of shocks, he wasn't really using it for fishing. Really, game? You're gonna make us dwell on something we figured out ages ago?
Answer me this. Where'd he put his fish?
What?
His catch. Where'd he put his catch? There's no freezers. Hell, there's not even an ice chest on board. So where'd the fish go? And by the looks of it, those are some pretty serious gas tanks down there.
While snooping around and spotting a couple more in-jokes referencing Hell Money from season 3 of the show, you'll find a wet weather slicker stamped with the name of the Terrakan, a much larger Russian boat docked at our next destination, which Captain the Harbour Master, very kindly gives us an exposition dump about when he finally turns up with some coffee for himself and Detective Don't Mess With Me or I'll Shoot You in the Nuts.
What's the Terrakan?
Ocean-going tug. It burned at sea 2 months ago.
Really?
Why would Wong have a slicker from the Terracon in his cabin?
Well, I don't know. Don't think he knew those guys. They were Russian. Maybe he picked it up as scrap after the fire.
I think I remember hearing something about that. The crew all died, didn't they?
Yeah. Boat's over at the impound dock. You want to take a look?
Were you missing references to the TV series? Were you baffled when I mentioned the fleshy white light earlier? Well, here's where a little backstory may help understand. Kind of. What's to come. So I'll try to be as concise but brief as possible. Bearing in mind that this is based on a mythology that wasn't particularly well explained over the first 6 years of the show. So, the black oil is a sentient virus left on this planet by the aliens during the Ice Age, with the intention of using it to repopularise the planet when temperatures warmed up and they could reclaim it. Aside from the ability to infect humans and birth a new alien, the virus can also take control of its host and use it to do whatever's necessary to further colonists' plans. To stop anyone interfering with this or becoming a threat, the virus can use its radioactive properties as a defence mechanism to turn its human host into, well, essentially a mini nuclear bomb, emitting a bright white light and irradiating anyone within viewing distance. This all makes sense when used within the context of the show, but in this game, when you get to the Terracarn and find evidence that most of the crew were irradiated, I can only assume that people not familiar with the mythology were a little puzzled, especially considering how much our leads go on about it here.
Anyway, Coast Guard cutter, the Stalwart, saw a fire on the horizon, rushed out there. By the time they arrived, it was too late. The entire crew had burned to death.
How many men were on board?
Total of 9. Although only 4 bodies were recovered, the rest were presumed lost at sea.
What was the cause of the fire?
Never determined. They have no idea.
Look at that. Fire damage seems to be contained to the outside of the hull. Cabin and the interior don't seem to be burnt at all.
Okay, so what's your point?
Well, how was the crew killed by a fire that only burned the hull? For that matter, why did the fire only burn the hull in the first place?
You got me. You're the detectives.
And especially when you make the logical decision to take a photo of these marks, thinking they might be worth analysing or, well, whatever, only to discover that the only purpose they serve is as a conversation piece while you gulp at them, and then that's it.
Come with me. I want to show you something.
Think on sexy thoughts, think on sexy thoughts, think on sexy thoughts!
See these outlines here on the side of the cabin?
Yeah, it's kind of frightening, isn't it? What causes it?
I have no idea.
It reminds me of pictures I've seen of Hiroshima.
How's that?
Well, the blast from the bomb left the outline of people behind. I don't know why. I can barely remember it. I was only a kid when I saw the picture. Jesus, scared the bejesus out of me.
Yeah, that helped. It's time to do some snooping around again before heading up to the bridge to meet up with Astadorian, who seems to suffer with the same affliction as Skinner, seeing as her interpretation of investigating also entails just standing there blankly staring at a worktop for minutes on end. There are 3 pieces of evidence you need to collect: a logbook of names in an open safe, a book laying on a table in one of the cabins, and a metal sphere hidden in a box at the far end of the downstairs hold. You'll know you're in the right place because the music picks up a little. Also, be sure to closely examine the crates with the dragon label on when you're collecting that last item. Otherwise the game will refuse to let you progress any further. I'm only skipping ahead and mentioning these because exploring this place can be so tediously boring and frustrating, not helped by the repetitive 2-second sound file droning on in the background. There's absolutely nothing of note, and there's not even anything to make fun of. Well, except for maybe back when you first arrived here and Captain Haddock... I'm sorry, I don't even know why I keep getting that wrong. When the Harbour Master kindly, somewhat awkwardly, exposits...
Seattle.
Nope. Vancouver. Trust me, I've watched enough sci-fi to recognise those raindrops anywhere.
Let me know if you see anything.
Please, feel free to let me know if there's anything, because I'm beyond the point of particularly caring. Oh, wait, yes, there's... the book.
Place looks like it's already been dusted for print.
Oh yeah, so it has. Probably from the first investigation into the fire. Hey, this is strange. It looks like there's a fresh set of prints over the top of the old ones. Yeah, somebody's put their hand on this after it's already been dusted. Either that's pretty sloppy police work or somebody else has been here.
Well, we better have them lifted.
Ooh, what could it possibly mean? Does it even matter? Actually, it does. I know. Don't all faint at once at the prospect that this has even the tiniest impact on the story. You have no idea how much I'm restraining from doing a celebration dance at the moment. But don't get too excited, because once again I have to ask, why the fuck hasn't this been put in an evidence bag? Fine, I'll put my hands up and acknowledge that I'm not a member of law enforcement, and that I don't know all the protocols when it comes to determining what is classed as evidence. But at some point during the fire investigation, somebody took the time to dust this for prints. Even if it wasn't deemed important enough to remove from the scene, why didn't the conspirator that touched it after the inspection take more caution to stop their fingerprints getting on the book? Or, well, you know, just take it away. Nobody would have been any wiser if it had been stolen. Not as if we ever look at photos from the original crime scene. Holy crap, this don't give away spoilers too soon is exhausting. Feel free to call Amos to tell him about the fingerprints while I go get myself a reward for not spilling the truth. La 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 la. Apologies for the technical glitch. I got a little carried away with info. Not that you're missing much, but I've got to talk about something in the coming parts, haven't I? Oh shit! Pretend you didn't hear that!